Alright guys, we've got multiple games for December 6th. If you tailed the free pick, that's exactly why I always flex my bets. Even with one leg missing, I still cashed and came out positive. Hopefully you did too. If you like this format, I'll keep dropping my picks at the end of every video. Just make sure you subscribe, give this video a like, and always comment. Alright, let's get into our first game. New Orleans Pelicans versus Brooklyn Nets. For this matchup, I'm siding with the New Orleans Pelicans plus 3.5. Even though the Pelicans have lost 5 straight, they haven't been getting blown out. Only one of those losses was by more than single digits, and they've actually been solid against the spread this season. Brooklyn, on the other hand, has struggled to separate from teams and hasn't shown much defensive consistency. With New Orleans keeping games close and this being a non-division spot, I like the Pelicans to hang around and cover. Now for the player prop, I'm locking in Saddiq Bey over 17.5 points. He's been very consistent with this line. He scored 20, 22, 22, 21, and 18 in that stretch while playing heavy minutes and getting steady shot volume. With his role staying solid, this scoring line sits in a very reachable range again. Washington Wizards versus Atlanta Hawks. For this matchup, I'm rolling with the Atlanta Hawks negative 7.5. Washington has had a rough season overall and is still dealing with major lineup issues. Even though Atlanta has dropped a few close games lately, they've been competitive against strong opponents, and this is a clear bounce back spot against a short-handed Wizards team. Atlanta also has added motivation after losing the first meeting, and this feels like a game where their talent advantage shows over 4 quarters. Now for the player prop I'm locking in. Nickeil Alexander-Walker over 20.5 points. He's been on a heater, clearing this line in 4 of his last 5 games and coming off a 30-point performance. His minutes and usage have been steady, and with Atlanta leaning on him heavily right now, this scoring line sits in a very reachable range again. Cleveland Cavaliers versus Golden State Warriors. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Cleveland Cavaliers negative 7.5. Golden State continues to struggle on the road, and their offense has been inconsistent away from home. Cleveland has been much more reliable at Rocket Arena, and their scoring balance puts pressure on a Warriors defense that has allowed big nights recently. With the Cavaliers controlling tempo and having the cleaner rotations, they're in a good spot to win by margin. Now for the player prop I'm locking in. Jalen Tyson, over 12.5 points. He's cleared this number in 4 of his last 5 games and continues to see steady minutes in Cleveland's rotation. Tyson has been aggressive offensively, getting quality looks and attacking mismatches. With Golden State allowing production to wings, this line sits in a very reachable range again tonight. Detroit Pistons versus Milwaukee Bucks. For this matchup, I'm going with the over 222.5 total points. Detroit continues to push pace at home, and even without Giannis, Milwaukee's games have still trended toward higher totals due to defensive lapses and late game scoring. Now for the player prop I'm rolling with Gary Harris under 5.5 points. He hasn't been involved offensively, seeing limited usage and inconsistent minutes. Harris has failed to score in multiple recent appearances, and without a clear offensive role, this line is asking for more production than he's currently providing. The under makes sense again tonight. Sacramento Kings versus Miami Heat. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Miami Heat. Miami has been dominant at home, and Sacramento continues to struggle on the road, especially defensively. Without Sabonis, the Kings have had issues on the glass and protecting the paint, while Miami's ball movement and scoring depth continue to punish teams that can't stay disciplined. At home, the Heat control pace and usually separate in the second half. Now for the player prop, I'm rolling with Drew Smith. Over 2.5 rebounds. He's been around this number consistently and continues to see steady minutes in Miami's rotation. Smith stays active on the floor, crashes from the perimeter, and benefits from Miami's defensive possessions creating rebound chances. With Sacramento struggling on the offensive glass, this line is very attainable again tonight. Los Angeles Clippers versus Minnesota Timberwolves. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Minnesota Timberwolves negative 10.5. Minnesota has been dominant at home and continues to push pace while scoring efficiently. The Clippers have struggled all season, especially defensively, and they've had a hard time keeping games close against high-tempo teams. With Minnesota's offense rolling and their depth showing up at target center, this sets up as a spot where they can separate and cover comfortably. Now for the player prop I'm locking in. Jaden McDaniels, over 2.5 assists. He's cleared this line consistently, hitting it in 4 of his last 5 games. McDaniels continues to see strong minutes and stays involved within Minnesota's ball movement, especially against teams that collapse defensively like the Clippers. With steady usage and multiple scoring threats around him, this assist number is very reachable again tonight. Houston Rockets versus Dallas Mavericks. For this matchup, I'm siding with the Houston Rockets. Houston continues to look like the more complete team, especially on the road, where they've been consistent on both ends of the floor. Their scoring depth and defensive pressure create problems for a Dallas team that's still vulnerable defensively, even during this recent win streak. With Houston able to control tempo and generate easy looks in transition, they're in a solid position to take this one. Now for the player prop I'm locking in, Anthony Davis, over 3.5 assists. He's been consistently involved as a facilitator, hitting this mark in 4 of his last 5 games. With Dallas leaning on him as a hub in the offense, especially without consistent guard play, Davis continues to draw attention inside and kick out to shooters. At 3.5, this assist line remains very reachable again tonight. Alright guys, that's all the picks for today. That free pick I gave out. Remember, always flex your bets. This one is a flex bet. I'll see you guys later, and please comment below. Let me know if you tailed it or not. Good luck.